Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel where I teach lessons useful for students of class 12th who are studying economics from the CBSE pattern. And this video is going to mark the beginning of a brand new chapter which is going to be useful for term 1, that is money and banking. This chapter is very useful to also understand how does the entire economy operate. So we'll begin with the first part, and the first part will be dealing with the importance of money and its meaning. So without wasting much time, let's move into the introduction. The question that comes into our mind so often is, why is money so important? For that, I would like you to imagine a society without money. It's impossible to imagine such kind of society today because each and everything that we use and each and everything that we see somehow is connected with money. Every single thing that we have, which we use right from the morning till our bedtime, all these things are measured in terms of money. Every single thing has a price. But the surprising part is that money has not always been in human society. In human history, money originated much later. The origin of money, the role of money in the economy, and the role of how institutions take care of the circulation of money, that is what we're going to study in this particular chapter. So the first thing to understand is barter system. We are talking about a time in human history when there was no money. As I told earlier, money was not always around in human history. Initially, goods were exchanged for goods. This is because human beings are social animals and we depend on each other for existence. If I specialize in preparing one kind of product, my neighbor will specialize in producing another kind of product. For example, if I specialize in producing wheat and my neighbor specializes in producing milk, I will depend on my neighbor for milk while my neighbor will depend on me for wheat. This is how human society slowly developed, and this is why humans are called as social animals, because we live together in a society and depend on each other. So when goods were exchanged in return for goods, this system was called as barter system, but this system was not foolproof. There were certain problems, and it is because of these problems that we slowly have the rise of money. So what are these drawbacks and what are these problems? The first one was lack of double coincidence, which means if I have a product and I need a specific other product, I have to search and find out that person who needs my product and who has the product which I want. And this will be extremely difficult to find. For example, if I have wheat and I need milk, I have to find in my society that person who has milk and at the same time needs my wheat. So only when this double coincidence is found will the transaction take place. Otherwise, I will be still carrying my wheat around the entire village searching for someone who is ready to sell one's milk in return for wheat. This lack of double coincidence caused a lot of problems in the society based on barter system. The second point is lack of divisibility. There were certain products which were larger in size, and since these were larger in size, it would be difficult to divide them. For example, if I need 1 bucket of milk in exchange for a bull, it will be difficult for the owner of the bull to divide the bull in exchange for 1 bucket of milk. And so this would be absolutely absurd and foolish for that person to divide one's bull. And because of this was a huge problem, lack of divisibility. The third problem was lack of measure of value. This is because value is subjective. Value differs from person to person. For example, if I have reared a goat, according to me, my goat is the most precious goat. But in the eyes of my neighbor, that is just a simple animal. So, in the eyes of my neighbor, the goat is worthless, whereas in my eyes, the goat is absolutely worthy. And so, since different people had different conceptions of value, it was difficult to measure the value of products. The next drawback is lack of store of value, which means there were certain perishable products whose value would deteriorate if they are not transacted the same day. For example, in earlier times when there were no refrigerators available, milk had to be transacted the very same day, which means on that day when the milk is fresh, its value is high. But if I am not able to use that milk in any transaction, and if that milk gets spoiled the next day, then I have totally lost that value. And so it was difficult to store things of value. And the final one is deferred payments. Deferred payments in simple terms means future payments. For example, it is continuing from the previous point. If I want to exchange milk for wheat, and right now I do not have wheat. So what happens is that the person who has promised to give me milk will wait, and by the time I am able to procure wheat, the milk will already be spoiled. So in ancient times during the barter system, there was no concept of future payments. Whereas in today's system, it is very, very easy for us to pay later because we are using a term called as money, and that money is imperishable. It does not get spoiled. So these were the drawbacks of the barter system, and this made life very, very difficult in human society. And so slowly humans devised another type of transaction, and with that we have the origin and rise of money in order to combat all these drawbacks of barter system. So what is money? Money is defined as anything generally accepted as a means of exchange and at the same time acts as a measure and store of value. Now in this definition, it is very, very important to understand so many terms. The first thing is generally accepted. Money is accepted all over the world. Even though we might have different currencies and different denominations of currencies, yet all over the world, whenever you want to buy something or sell something, it is done in exchange for money. It is a means of exchange, which means it is no longer necessary for you to have goods in exchange for goods. If you have money and if you have digital currency in these days, it is more than sufficient. Anything can be exchanged for money. It is a measure of value. Every single thing that you see and own has a price tag, which means every single commodity that you have or you want to purchase or you have already purchased is basically made out of a specific price. And the final one is store of value, which means money can be easily stored in various forms. It can be stored in your bank accounts, it can be stored in your mutual funds, it can be invested in stock markets or businesses, and so money can be stored and it does not perish. So this is how money has replaced barter system. We will move into the functions of money. The first function, as I have already explained in the definition, is medium of exchange. And since money can be exchanged very, very easily for any kind of commodity or product, there is no need to wait for double coincidence. Immediately transactions can take place and products and services can be easily purchased. Money is the unit of account. Unit of account refers to the value of money, and with this value of money you can compare between things. For example, if you want to buy books, you can easily compare the price of various books, and by comparing you can choose the price which is best for you. And this is possible only because these items have money value. It is possible only because of money. The next function of money is store of value. As I have already explained in the definition, money can be easily used for future use. Money does not get rotten or spoiled, and money is non-perishable, which means you can easily store it in any form you like, either in the form of cash in your wallets or in the form of digital currency or even in your bank accounts. The next function of money is standard of deferred payments. Money can be used for future payments, which means you can avail the services currently and you can take services now and pay later. The examples are easy monthly installments, commonly known as EMIs, where you purchase a product now but then slowly pay in installments in the future. Pension, you have rendered your services and then in return till your retirement or after your retirement you get pension. Or for example, you take a loan and slowly when you are repaying it back, you pay interest as well. So you can avail the services or products currently and pay later. This is called as deferred payments, and this is possible only and only because of money. The final function is liquidity. Liquidity refers to that function of money where you can easily convert it into cash. Just like water easily takes the shape of any vessel in which it is put. You can put it in a bottle, you can put it in a jar, and you can put it in a vessel, and it takes that shape. In the same way, money also is easily convertible into cash. So whenever money is in the form of cash, it is called as liquid money or liquidity. That shows the liquidity of money because it can be easily converted into cash. For example, I purchase a vehicle, I have converted my money into an asset. When I sell that money and get cash, that money is now easily converted into liquid money or cash. And this is another function of money where you can convert money into cash or into an asset or into any product or service. The convertibility of money is called as liquidity. With that, we complete the functions of money. Now the question is, why do we need money? Do we really need money? And so this topic is called as the demand of money. Why do people demand money? Out of all the reasons why people need money, we have basically summarized all those reasons into generally two motives. The first reason why people want money is the transaction motive. And it is very easy to understand. What is a transaction? Transaction is any instance where goods and services are exchanged in return for money. And so people need to buy goods and services in their daily life, and for that they really need money. This is the first need or motive why people need money. The second motive is called as speculation motive. What does this mean? It means that people no longer need it only for transactions, but they can also use it for investments. And by investments I mean this is an exercise by which you increase the value or the existing value of your money. When I invest my money in different kinds of businesses in return for profit, different kinds of stocks, different kinds of mutual funds, or even if I give it out for loan, I do all these activities because I want to increase the value of my money. By investing in businesses, I gain profit. By investing in stocks, I also gain dividend or profit. The same thing happens with mutual funds. And when I give out my money for loans as loan, I get not only the principal amount, but I also gain an additional amount called as interest. So with this, what I do increase the value of my money. But the problem is that whenever I invest, there is an aspect of risk involved. I can also have an equal possibility of losing my money. And that is why, because of this risk, this motive is called as speculation motive. So these are generally the two motives for which we need money. We will move into the next topic, that is supply of money. Supply of money refers to the volume of money held by the people in a country for transactions and settlement of debts. So whenever people have money for various motives, it can be for transactions, it can be for speculation, it can be for settlement of debts or loans, all that money held by the people is called as money supply or supply of money. In simple terms, the total money available in a country is called as supply of money. Now in a country, people hold money in various forms. For example, we hold it in the form of currency notes. We hold it in the form of coins issued by the government of India. We hold it in the form of demand deposits such as savings account and current account. We also hold it in the form of time deposits such as fixed deposit and recurring deposit. To understand the supply of money, we have certain terms which we should understand, and the first term is legal tender. As it is there on your screen, in an economy, no citizen can reject that form of currency which has been circulated by the central bank and the government. Which means whenever you have a 50 rupee, a 100 rupee or a 500 rupee note with you, no citizen can claim that this is rejected. This is because this has been given power by the central bank, that is Reserve Bank of India in India, and the government of India. So this power of money to be accepted by all citizens in an economy is called as legal tender. This is what I explained in the definition of money, when I said generally accepted, nobody in your country can reject the currency of that country because money has a power not to be rejected, and that power is called as legal tender. For example, no person can reject a 500 rupee note in India because it has a legal tender. Whereas during demonetization, the old notes of 500 and 1000 rupees have been removed from circulation because they have lost their legal tender. The central bank, that is Reserve Bank of India, and the government withdrew that power to be accepted, and that is why they have been demonetized. This is called as loss of legal tender. With that, we move to the next and important topic. This is called as measurement of money supply. The question arises, is it possible for us to measure all the money available in India? Yes, it is possible, and the Reserve Bank of India has its responsibility. How does the Reserve Bank of India do it? It uses 4 different alternatives. Very easy to remember. They are M1, M2, M3 and M4. Why are they divided into 4 different settings or alternatives? Let's understand. So the first one is M1, the way to measure money supply in India or the entire money available in India. And M1 is basically counting coins, currency notes, plus demand deposits and other deposits held in international banks by Indian citizens. Now, all this money, coins in the form of coins, currency and demand deposits, for example, savings bank account and current account, and also deposits held in international banks, they are placed in the first category called as M1 because these are the most liquid kind of deposits or forms of money. When I say most liquid, it means that this money can be easily converted into cash. Coins and currency are already cash. Whenever we want our deposits to be given back to us at demand, it will be easily convertible into cash, and the same is with deposits in international banks. And so in this way, M1 is the most easily available and easily countable form of money because it is easily demanded and converted into cash. M2 is slightly difficult to convert into cash. That is why it comes under the second category, which is basically M1 plus savings deposits of post office savings bank account. Now, what is the difficulty and why is it kept in M2? It is kept in M2 because the deposits in post office savings bank account is very difficult to withdraw. Basically, there is a limit set for the deposits of post office, which means if you want your entire money, it will be impossible. It will be only given to you according to the limit that is ascertained or set by the post office. For example, in your post office account, if you have 1 lakh rupees and if the limit to withdraw per month is only 5,000, you will not get 1 lakh when you demand it. You will be getting back only 5,000 rupees per month. That is why it is slightly difficult to convert it back into cash. M3 is the next alternative, which is basically M1 plus time deposits such as fixed deposits and recurring deposits. Now, as it is given there, fixed deposits and recurring deposits are deposited money by the public for a longer period of time. For example, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and so on. Which means if you cannot touch that money or you cannot withdraw that money until the period has been completed or the maturity of the deposit has been completed. For example, if I have 5 lakh rupees in a fixed deposit and I want to withdraw and I have kept it for 5 years, I cannot touch that money until the period of 5 years has been completed. And as you can see, M3 is slightly more difficult than M2 and M1 to be converted back into cash. That is why this is the third alternative. The next one is M4, which is basically M3 plus post office savings excluding national savings certificates. Now, M4 is the most difficult one to be withdrawn into cash. This is because the minimum period of post office savings excluding national savings certificates is 5 years to 10 years. And that is why M1 is easily convertible into cash, M2 is slightly difficult, M3 is more difficult, and M4 is the most difficult. In this way, these are 4 different alternatives used by the Reserve Bank of India to measure the supply of money or the availability of money in the Indian economy. With that, we come to the end of this video, where in this video I explained about the importance of money and various important terms regarding money. In the next video, we will move into the basics of banking. Thank you so much for staying tuned till now. If you found this video helpful and educative, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe so that many more students can benefit from it. Thank you so much. Stay educated and stay safe.